welcome everyone to our March meeting of the Autism Coalition. And this month of March is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, which it has been since 1987, when the president issued a public proclamation urging Americans to provide individuals with developmental disabilities the encouragement and opportunities they need to lead productive lives and to achieve their full potential. And today we're going to focus on developmental disabilities employment services available within Lewis County and what the needs are and how they're being addressed. So, and I'm Bill Wiseman, and I'm the facilitator for the Lewis County Autism Coalition meeting. So this morning we're going to have the primary part of the meeting is going to be a panel on employment services. And we have 4 individuals who will be participating. There is Kyle, and there's Sarah, and Lisa, and as well as Victoria. So
so I am Kyle, as I mentioned before, and I work for the Visions program. The Visions program is a transition program. I want to talk just a little bit briefly today about what a transition program does, how we function. I don't know, I wasn't sure exactly who the audience would be this morning, and I think a lot of you are going to have a pretty good idea of what we do already. We're a Chehalis School District program. We serve students that qualify with special ed services, ages 18 through 21. So all public school students in the United States are provided with services through at least the age of 21 years old. And so we are what's referred to as a community-based program. Obviously this year, under the circumstances, we're not in the community all that much. So we've had to make a lot of adaptations to what we do, how we do our program. And my main role in the program is I'm a job developer. So a big part of our program is putting our students into work experience positions. So we have businesses and organizations between mostly Centralia and Chehalis, several of them that provide us with voluntary places for our students to go and get work experience. And so my main role is to coordinate those businesses and oversee most of the employment side of our program. Kind of what I want to start talking about today is before if you have a child in special ed that may need transition services, what to do before they age out of high school. So most of our students go through 4 years of high school and then walk in ceremonies and receive a certificate of completion. And then it's determined at the end of our program if they are eligible to receive a diploma or not. So how early should you talk about transitions? And what we always say is the earlier the better. If you are meeting with your IEP team on a regular basis or yearly, yeah, bring up transition services as early as possible. Grade school is definitely not too young. But if your student is approaching high school or in high school and you haven't really talked about transition services yet with your IEP team, I would definitely do that. And then, so some of the things before you get to our program that are really helpful to do is to get connected with DVR and DDA services. That really saves a lot of time, and we're always thinking with our students beyond our program, what are they going to do when they leave our program, when they come into our program? So many of them will receive DVR and DDA services and need those services. So get connected with those services as early as possible. Those are great services. And then another big one is just to, while a student is still in maybe middle school, high school, to be focusing a little bit on work readiness skills. And the basic things like hygiene and dress code and basic communication with maybe a teacher, an employer, the people around you. Because oftentimes we will have students will find that just kind of getting the basic expectations down of things like hygiene and dress code takes several months. And when we have students that already have those skills, they're that much further ahead when they leave our program. They've been able to gain more skills in that case. So, visions, career exploration, kind of how it works, and a little bit about what we do, is we try to provide our students with a really wide variety of work experiences at businesses in our community. So this is an area that we like it to be diverse. We like our students to try several different things. Most of us, I'm sure some people here probably knew what they wanted to do when they graduated high school and did it. But most of us need a little bit of time post high school to try a few different things and maybe change our minds a couple different times. So that's really important to our students to have that experience, and we like them to be provided with that experience. And sometimes we find students that develop interests that they never knew they had, and they find jobs that fit them really, really well, that they didn't know were there when they were younger. So our students rotate work experience positions every semester generally. We have a certain amount of hours that are state requirements that we have to comply with, that our students can work at each work experience position. But usually half the school year, one work experience position, and then halfway through, they move on to a new work experience position at a new business or new company or organization, and try a new skill. So our goal for our students, and I say goal because this is something that we aim for, our goal is for our students to work 3 2-hour work periods each week. There's different reasons that sometimes things like transportation and the logistics just don't make a full 2-hour work period possible. Getting to and from, and our students have class time hours as well. Many of our students use the college, the Centralia Community College. So sometimes 2 hours isn't quite possible. And then sometimes it just takes a while to build up the stamina to work a full 2 hours, depending on a different student and their needs. So we're flexible with that. Something I want to say about our work experience positions for parents especially is that we are never going to throw a student into a position where they're going to sink rather than swim. We're always going to offer them the support they need. We have job coaches that are experts at what they do, and are really, really great at working with our students. So we never just throw students to the wolves. There's always a lot of support in place for everything that we do with our students. So what to expect, like if you're a student in Visions, what to expect from work experience, from career exploration. Students work towards a mastery of basic skills. So we have several areas that we evaluate our students on in their work experience positions. And then based on their IEP, there may be other goals and areas that we evaluate them on as well. But one example of those things would be if a workplace were to require a uniform. All workplaces have dress codes. Dress codes are a big portion of what we do, especially when it comes to the work experience aspect of our program. So some workplaces have uniforms that our students need to wear, and sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge to wear that uniform, to get every piece of it correctly, to keep it clean, to remember to bring it or to remember to put it all on. So say if a student in their first month had a uniform and they were dressed correctly maybe 5 out of 10 days that they went to work, well, then they would receive a 5 out of 10 score. And then we would seek to improve that to obviously a maximum of 10. So 10 would be perfect. They had it mastered and there would be nothing else they could improve about that category. So that's kind of just a sample of how we evaluate different skills in our students. We want our students, again, to sample a wide variety of career choices. We want it to be really diverse. Different experiences, different expectations. Different jobs are going to have different expectations, and they're going to build different skills at different job sites. And we also want them to develop new interests. And if we could go back one slide for just 1 second, I'm almost done. And then my final point here, students build skills to work as independently as possible and pursue their personal employment goals beyond visions. So this is where I want to kind of avoid the term dream job. We want, if students have or maybe develop sort of a dream career while they're in visions, unfortunately, I don't have those dream jobs to give out. We want our students to build the skills to be able to go out and get that job themselves. So hopefully they will leave our program with the skills to pursue those careers that they really want once they leave our program. If you would like to just explore transitions programs more, and our program does a lot more than just work experience. That's my main role, so that's what I've talked about this morning. But if you would like to explore this a little more, this is a website that I've ran across recently, the Life Skills Lady, that really does a great job of talking about transitions and what to expect in a transitions program. And there is a section on work experience in that website. Thank you.
Okay, so as I told you guys, I'm Lisa Davis from Morningside. So the video that's going to be coming up is with a young named Adrian Roan, and he's like really the great example of a student that went through visions and then went through every phase of our program. You know, like, so after the video, you'll see the different phases that we have, and it's been a really good outcome. So we just wanted to share that with you. He really enjoyed doing it.
My name is Adrian Roan, and I've been thankful enough to be here in Morningside because of their absolute dedicated services for getting me worked to Home Depot. And for that, I've been there for a good solid 5 years. And for the whole runoff of how that happened is that I spent 3 years in visions after my graduation of 2011. And through the session of it all is to give like a step-by-step basic training of being able to live out in the community, being able to go out and get proper experiences from other jobs, and to see how it fits the environment, and it fits for a psychological and visual perspective. And for me, when I had to examine those specifications, it just gives me a clearer, well, not clearer, but it just gives me an insight of what it means to look forward to getting the job. And after those 3 years, I've been able to move on to going to college to increase my learning capabilities and keeping my mind sharp enough just to be able to go, like, let's say, working mathematical puzzles or being able to problem solve certain case scenarios. And for college, between visions and college, I've been there for 2 years, plus adding an extra 2 more for college. And then between those 2 years, Morningside came to me and they helped me through the process of finding jobs. And that I became thankful. We just narrowed down the expectations of a job, listed down the narrations of open positions. Then we've narrowed down to like some other clear aspects of what is required to being able to get a job. And so that's where it started off at Home Depot, being able to work there. Well, first off, being able to work at Home Depot since 2016. So going to Home Depot, to me, from a glance and from the moment of going through the doors, it just seems like you're getting that positive breeding feeling from the individuals in the office, and just going back there to get the appreciative greet from the individuals. And for that, I feel like I just entered the family expanse. So during those times of getting a job, I started off as a garden loader, in which from the beginning there was 4 garden loaders at the time. It was just, I thought it was just only 5 or 16 garden loaders at the time. That was in my mind. But in overtime, I kept working and I kept working in garden. I've been doing quite a bit of few tasks, like mainly watering, cleaning under the tables of all that sludge, down stacking, moving pallets around just to clear underneath them, making sure all these items are up to task, just to be presentable for customers to seek out what they are looking for. And in addition to moving around log splitters, mowers, and being able to help customers load in the process, which I spent 2 years there. Then I transitioned to lot about half a year later, which it was given to me by the HR representative at Home Depot. And they said the specs are that as long as I'm able to go around freely in the parking lot, in the store, and being able to seek out customers who needs help, I asked them if they need any part of the items that they're looking for, respectively, and acknowledging the fact and being able to get further details of what the customers want. And after a year and a half, I've been given promotion to work as a pro loader. And then during that time, when I got the pro loader position, I've been on the rise of being the best pro loader there is at the store, and everyone took acknowledgement of my dedicated services. So, and overall, I've been successful in giving customer satisfaction, being able to, and for this position, it gives me more extended knowledge of what it means to being available and being on top of what needs to be done. Because for me, it just feels like I've been like running per se, like running a military organization in comparison, but it doesn't feel like that at Home Depot. It's a family coordination, and everyone has to acknowledge everyone respectfully and being able to acknowledge them in the way of how they are. And for us, well, for me specifically, that I do appreciate everything that Home Depot has been doing for everyone else, and for that, I give my all just to be more than willing to continue to work there.
That is wonderful. Can I ask you a question, Adrian? So there's going to be a lot of people that hear this that might be getting close to finishing high school, and families. So if they were sort of deciding, should I or shouldn't I go to Visions, what advice could you give them about, what would convince them, make them feel better about moving ahead and going to Visions and then working with employment services?
The only insight I can actually throw on the table at this point is that as long as you keep your focus on that path, then chances are you'll be able to then chances are you'll be able to, you know, get to that specifications of what seems to be good and what seems to be perfect for your environment. Let's say, for say, going to IT or going to a technical division or doing some kind of a medical expertise of some sort. But as long as that focus is kept in play, then being successful is the only thing that matters. Because if you successfully get past through your high school, if you suddenly decide to go to college and increase your bachelor's or getting your AA degree to whatever job you want to get to, then that's going to be the best start to go for.
That is great advice. Is there anything else that you want to add to this?
Just one more. It's just the matter of not forcing it onto one person, but it's just a matter of their own personal choice. Everyone has their own personal choice, like any person, like whether if there's disability involved or not, is that everyone has their own personal choice. That's what I look at.
Good thing. That is great advice. And I remember, it was so long ago now, but I remember when you just got out of visions, and you might have still been going a little bit when we met, but we did look at a lot of jobs. We spent a long time, and until you found exactly what you wanted, and then it worked out. Now you're still there. So really good. Thank you so much, Adrian.
You're welcome.
Okay, I will go ahead and put the PowerPoint back on, and then you can take it from there, Lisa.
All righty. Just so you know, this was all him. Nobody prompted him at all. He really, I thought maybe, I might have to ask some questions, but once we told him what, we were looking for, he just went with it. It was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
So.
And the reason why we had to pre-record him is because he had work today, so he couldn't be here.
Yeah, he's very dedicated. Anyway, so as she goes through the PowerPoint, a lot of you, I think I've met, already, a lot of you, but we have offices in several counties, Thurston County, Pierce County, Grace Harbor County, Port Angeles, and Centralia. And we're looking at maybe possibly in the near future moving into Cowlitz County. So kind of exciting. Anyway, so this is kind of our process. We get a referral from various places. Could be Voc Rehab or Services of the Blind, DDA, the schools. We also have another place now called Foundational Community Supports, where we offer employment services. So then we get to know the person and, initially meet and talk and gather some information, and then start from there. We go through different phases depending on what the person needs. Adrian was a perfect example of, he came from Visions. We did a community-based assessment with him where he did some trial jobs in the community. And then we did a person-centered plan. So we got to really know him and, try to understand what he liked and didn't like. And then we went into a job placement plan. At the same time that we were working with DVR, we worked with DDA. And so he built a relationship with Ryan, our job coach, while him and Ryan spent time together, and I spent time with them, between the two of us. So then when he started his job, he had a really strong relationship with the job coach that was, that still supports him on the job. So he does have long-term support. Sometimes we do 90 days. In his case, he qualifies for, as long as he wants it, some certain hours a month for long-term support. So anyway, that's kind of what I just went over, what the services we offer. And it just varies. It's totally person-centered. Like some people come in and they have a work history, so they don't really need anything, but just a little bit of extra support. Maybe they've been out of the workforce for a long time and they need to re-enter and they're frustrated and feeling down. And sometimes it's just a matter of giving them a little confidence and moving ahead. So that's, you know, one of the new things we started about 3 years ago was our summer internship program, and Pacific Mountain Workforce partners with us to do this in the summertime. So if somebody is on a IEP or a 504, then we set them up in a paid experience for, I think it's about 4 or 5 weeks. And then they get stipend at the end at, you know, whatever minimum wage is for their hours. I think they do about 50 hours. So we're getting ready for that actually coming up too. And this is just some of our folks from last year and the year before that did the internship. The one all the way over in the plaid shirt is at Quanex, where Victoria's husband works. And then the one in the middle is Grocery Outlet, and then the other on the other side was also at Quanex.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Let's go ahead and pass it on to Sarah.
Well, thank you, Victoria, for inviting us to speak today and putting the PowerPoint together. I think that Kyle and Lisa did such a great job explaining. I don't know that I have too much more to add about employment services. I did want to share a little bit about my role. So I work at Lewis County Public Health and Social Services at as the Developmental Disabilities Coordinator, and part of that is working with our different developmental disabilities employment vendors. So we have Morningside, and we also have Compass, Lewis County Work Opportunities, and Reliable Enterprises as well that provide DD employment services. And I just want to echo what Kyle was saying about starting those conversations early. Visions provides supports to students mainly in Centralia, Chehalis, but we also have 11 other school districts in Lewis County, and transition services can look different depending on the community that the student lives in. So it's really important to start those conversations early with your team and learn about available resources because it looks different depending where you live. So like Kyle had said, transition is typically that for ages 18 to 21, and at age 21, that's when a person, if they're eligible for DDA services, could be potentially eligible to receive long-term employment supports through DDA. So that typically doesn't kick in until 21, which is why it's so important to learn about what transition services are available and how you can access those so there's not a gap between high school and then the long-term employment supports. So something really exciting that Lewis County is participating in right now is a statewide pilot project, and which is called Job Foundation. Sometimes it's referred to as the value-based pilot project. How we're referring to it here in Lewis County is just Job Foundation. And what this does is this is an opportunity for DVR, DDA, and school districts all to work together earlier and provide some more intensive supports to help prepare a student for exiting transition, with the goal of leaving the transition program at age 21 with a job. As Kyle shared, there's a lot of great things happening, but sometimes even with stellar transition services, there's still a need for additional assessments and supports before the person is ready to go out and find a job. So this Job Foundation opportunity is just a really great option for students who are wanting to start that early. It is specific to students who are engaged in transition services and who are eligible for Developmental Disabilities Administration services. So it's not for every student, it is for a specific group of students, but it's a really great opportunity to start some of these more long-term services and relationships earlier. And as you can see on this flyer that Victoria has, Job Foundation would start the second to last year of transition, and there would be an assessment and a report written that would talk about several different areas of supports that the student might need to be successful in job placement and to start DVR services at age 20. And again, the goal of this is for the student who is participating to leave school with a job. So this is just a really exciting opportunity for us to get to partner with these different agencies and support the student and family earlier rather than waiting until they're 21 to start these services. So this was our first year participating in Job Foundations. We have 3 out of 7 students who are participating right now who were eligible, and we're going to be participating again this coming year. So if you know of students who are in their 2nd year of transition and would like to participate in Job Foundations, please feel free to point them my direction.
Thank you, Sarah.